Hi, I'm Sam Smeltzer. I'm a certified HR professional and a medical Qigong practitioner. I'm the founder of Leadership Arts Associates, a small HR consulting firm, and the creator of the Heart Center that's devoted to restoring passionate professionals through Qigong, Yin Yoga, and intuitive services. I'm also the author of the HR Intuitive that provides you 33 lessons to awaken your inner guide. And today, I'm really excited to share with you one of those lessons. The lesson I want to share with you today is on the emotion of grief. It might seem funny to talk about being sad, but it was one of the most powerful takeaways that I had when I began studying my medical Qigong practice. As a practitioner studying traditional Chinese medicine, I learned that emotions, when they manifest within us, they are basically our body asking for help. And if you're anything like me, you don't want to admit that you're sad. And when I thought about grief, I thought it could only manifest from physical loss, like a loved one that passed away. But grief is sadness. It's disappointment. It's when someone doesn't meet expectations. And when I started to reframe it that way, I realized that I had a lot of grief that I was holding on to. In traditional Chinese medicine, they believe that grief can manifest energetically into physical manifestations on the lungs. So if you developed allergies later on in life, respiratory issues, asthma, like I was diagnosed soon after I experienced a lot of grief, they say that it's that grief emotion. It's an energetic stagnation that's sitting on the lungs. But today, I don't want to talk about energetic stagnations. I want to talk about grief and how you can identify what grief you might still have present in your life that you haven't processed or healed. How does grief manifest? What causes grief? The most common place to go, because we're talking about HR, is the workplace. Leadership, toxic workplaces, extreme or not so extreme. We materialize and take in and have sadness when a workplace does not turn out to be what we wanted it to be. If we're a truly engaged, passionate professional, we enter that workspace with a desire to do good, to be there. Like me, I wanted to find a job and retire from there. And every time that organization let me down or a leader let me down, I was heartbroken. There's no other words for it. It's heartbreaking. When you leave organizations that you really cared about, it's just as bad as breakups, first loves. That happens with organizational loyalty and when they let you down. So don't underestimate that. That's grief that you're processing. And the more that you've gone through, if you've gone to several workplaces and still haven't found that place, there's grief. Don't underestimate the way that you feel when your leader speaks to you or your supervisor talks to you or the way that you don't feel like you belong in the workplace culture. That disappointment is turning into grief. The other aspect I want to talk about is personally, and it's in regards to relationships. Whether that's a significant other, spouse that isn't meeting quite the expectations that you hope for. It could also be family. I think sometimes we take for granted that when we have relationships, we're interacting with people who are trying their best and are growing every day just like we are. And because everyone's showing up and trying to do the best they can with what they got and where they are in this exact moment, means they can let us down. Others are dealing with pain and sadness too, just like we are. But that doesn't make excuses for the fact that you can be feeling legit grief and sadness because someone did not meet your expectation. You might have a parental relationship that you hoped was going to end up a certain way. You may have hoped that you had a romantic relationship or friendship that was going to end a certain way, and it didn't. They let you down. And that's sadness. That's grief. So just these couple of quick examples start to show that you might be carrying around a lot more sadness than you thought. When I was doing my medical Qigong training, the very first year, one of the things that we learned is that individuals that have experienced a lot of life, that are towards the end of their life, when they come in for treatment, we should spend a lot of time purging their lungs, purging the energy that's stagnant on their lungs because of this grief. this heavy weight, this burden that they're carrying. And as a medical Qigong practitioner, I've gotten to experience firsthand feeling that heaviness, that sadness that so many of us carry. Take a moment and think back, reflect, unpack if you're suppressing grief, sadness right now, and take the steps to heal that grief. And sometimes that might mean reaching out and meeting with a mental health professional to help you navigate that process. Maybe it's calling a friend or even finding a support group. But don't underestimate the impact that grief is having on your life today. This was just a taste of one of the 33 lessons in the HR Intuitive. For more, pick up your copy of the HR Intuitive today.